Hi, I'm Jamie Ruby from Sci-Fi-Vision. Thanks so much for talking to me today. I appreciate it.
Hi.
I enjoyed this season. So to start off, for people who haven't seen it, can you just sort of tease what can they expect? What's in store this season for viewers?
Of this season,
Yes.
I think uh, every character reaches their sort of final form and in one way or another kind of gets what they deserve. So I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns getting there, but I think everybody will feel very satisfied with how everyone ends up.
That was my next question. I was going to say, were you satisfied with the ending that you got to give? Do you feel like you got enough time to tell their complete stories, everybody's stories?
Yes, absolutely. And I went into the writer's room on season three as knowing that it was probably the end. And so I really left it all on the table. I definitely brought the characters to a place where I felt really good about leaving them there. So, uh, no, I felt great about it. I mean, it's obviously a bittersweet ending, but I think the fans will be really excited and happy with how it goes.
Was there anything though that you did have to cut just because of time? Because obviously, it sounds
Yeah.
like you would have liked to have gotten more, though, if
Right.
you had been
I
able
could
to.
have had more episodes this season. There was things I had to cut to do 7 episodes that I would have loved to have had more time. But I don't think I necessarily had a fourth season that I'm dying to tell. You know what I mean?
Okay, that makes
I
sense.
mean, I could. Don't get me
You
wrong.
could let them know
But
that now.
yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a bit about some of the you got a few new cast members this season, some new characters coming in. So can you talk
Yes.
about them?
Yes, we have Garrett Dillahunt and Michael Dreyer as these sort of Southie gangster guys that are kind of trying to move in on the drug territory. And then we have some very exciting new ladies who, one, Sarah, is a new trooper who starts to work with Ray. And I'll let the audience's imagination run wild about what might happen between Ray and a new young trooper. And then Rachel, played by Jeannie Sorrellis, is Janine, excuse me, is Frankie's pen pal in prison. And I think the audience will be blown away by her and by what happens.
Yeah, that was that was a bit interesting.
Yeah.
So what going into the third season, what have you kind of learned, like from doing it for so long, that you kind of brought into it that enabled you to do this final season?
You know, it's so valuable working with the actors, you know, working with some of the directors multiple times. You just know what everyone excels at and you can write to that and that makes it so much easier. And there's just things you want to see Jackie do that she hasn't done before. You want to see people in a new way. And so I think, coming into the writer's room, you just have this wealth of knowledge of like what would be meaningful and you sort of have an idea of how they would say it or how they would act it. And then they always show up with more and better than what you were hoping for. So that's what's amazing about having such a great cast.
Makes sense. Is there anything though that you learned specifically about yourself from this experience, or a way that your life like really, really changed just over these years that kind of stands out to you?
Yeah. I mean, I became a showrunner. This was my first show that I created. So, I walked in and a lot of the people on set had more experience than me, and yet they put their trust in me and I learned how to be really good at what I do. And that was amazing. You don't always know, and it doesn't necessarily,
Mhm.
there's no guarantee it's going to go that way, but I felt like it did. And so I really learned how to make a show and run a show. And I'm so excited I'm so grateful for this experience and excited to use everything I've learned on Hightown. But it's, of course, my first baby. It'll be one of my favorites
I was
forever.
going to say, the showrunner there, you have quite a lot going on at one time. What was kind of like the hardest thing for you to get used to doing for your first time as showrunner?
Um, well, the way we did it, all the scripts were written before we shot, so that actually takes a huge load
Yeah.
off. But I would go back and forth between the East Coast and LA. So a lot of times when I would wake up in LA, they've already been shooting for 2 hours and I have 57 texts and it's like feeling behind the eight ball. But luckily I had fantastic producers on set and here and it never really felt overwhelming. It's like truly it became a very well-oiled machine by the end. So
Yeah, so now you can go do another one, and you know what you're doing, and
exactly.
hopefully
They're
it'll
all their
go
own
well.
issues, but yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate
Thank
it. Like, I
you.
really enjoyed the season. So thank you. Have a good
Thanks.
day.
You too.